How to win your ex back after a breakup, the 60-day detox. The very first thing you need to understand when trying to win your ex back is that the pain and heartache you're feeling are completely real and justified. Falling in love or forming a deep bond with someone doesn't just affect your emotions, your body physically changes, too. To break it down, when you're emotionally close to someone, your brain starts to produce and release feel-good chemicals, known as endorphins. These neurotransmitters are responsible for the happiness and comfort you feel in their presence, and it can almost feel addictive. In fact, the same parts of the brain that respond to addictive substances like cocaine or heroin are also involved when we're in love. That's why, when a breakup happens, your brain essentially goes through withdrawal, very similar to what someone addicted to a drug might experience. This isn't just something you imagine or exaggerate, it's a scientifically proven, physical process. You may genuinely feel pain in your chest, and that's because there are real, chemical changes happening in your brain that impact your heart as well. It's important to acknowledge these feelings and validate them, because they are as real as any physical ailment. With that said, the first practical step in moving forward is to recognize that you'll need to go through a period of emotional detox, just like someone detoxing from a physical substance. Experts suggest this recovery time usually lasts anywhere from 30 to 66 days, and sometimes up to 90 days, depending on how strong your emotional attachment was. For most people, especially those who feel intensely about their ex, it's wise to prepare for a 60-day detox period. This is the time it takes for your mind and body to start shedding those irrational impulses and cravings to reconnect. In summary, the essential first step is to mentally commit to a detox period of at least 1 to 2 months. The deeper your attachment, the more likely you'll need the full 60 days. If you're reading this, chances are you'll benefit most from planning a 60-day emotional detox. Let's dive deeper into what this all means as we proceed through the subsequent steps. Moving on to step 2, which focuses on getting your ex back, it's crucial that you commit to becoming the best version of yourself, essentially, the best actor you've ever been. This means stepping into a role that requires full commitment and convincing yourself that it's genuine. In simpler terms, you'll need to adopt a persona that might not feel natural or true to you at the moment. This new role isn't about being the heartbroken, needy, desperate, clingy, or overly attentive ex-boyfriend. Instead, you're taking on the role of someone who is confident and capable of winning her back, rather than pushing her further away, which is what may have happened before. Now, let's talk about step 3, or tip number 3, avoid contacting her. I understand that you might feel the urge to reach out, explain yourself, or apologize, but it's important to resist that temptation. The reason is that anything you say right now could come across as desperate or needy. If she left you, it's likely because she needs space and time to herself. The more you try to chase her, the more she might feel the need to distance herself further. So, the key here is to refrain from contacting her. You might be wondering, what should I do if she contacts me? Let's address that next. Let's dive into step number 9, so make sure to stick around for that discussion. If you found step 3 challenging, brace yourself, as step 4 could prove to be even more demanding. During this crucial 30 to 60-day detox period, it's essential to completely refrain from any form of cyberstalking. This means no peeking at her social media profiles, no liking her posts, and certainly no commenting on anything she shares. For the duration of this phase, you should act as if she has no online presence at all. While it might be tempting to check in on her, if you do find yourself looking at her social media, it's vital to keep your actions discreet. Liking or commenting on her photos, memes, or selfies sends a clear message that you are still engaged and paying attention to her life. At this moment, any sign of interest or care can feel overwhelming to her. She needs her space to breathe and reflect. It's important for her to feel that you are focusing on your own life, rather than fixating on her. This leads us to the next point, number 5. You must provide her with all the space she requires. But how much space is that? It's the amount of time and distance necessary for her to feel ready to reconnect with you. If she hasn't reached out, initiated contact, or shown any signs of wanting to engage, it indicates that she's not prepared yet. In this situation, it's crucial that you resist the urge to pursue her. Let me be clear, attempting to casually appear in locations where you know she spends time is not a clever strategy. It's time to steer completely clear of those spots. Think of her as a mythical creature from a horror story, one that has already consumed your emotional core and now hungers for more. Your heart, in this metaphor, is already lifeless, and she's determined to feast on its remains. To move forward, whether you aim to rekindle the relationship or find someone who won't drain your vitality, you must first heal and rebuild your inner self. This isn't about playing games or trying to outsmart her, it's about genuine recovery. Don't kid yourself into thinking you can casually test the waters or pretend to your friends that you're fine. Trust me, it won't work. You need to erase her from your mental map entirely. Pretend she doesn't exist, and remind yourself that she no longer holds any power over your life. This is non-negotiable. Now, let's address step 6, lean on your trusted circle of friends and family for support. However, be selective. Avoid confiding in anyone who might gossip about your struggles to her. The goal here is to stay under her radar. The longer she remains unaware of your journey, the more you can rediscover your authentic self and rebuild the allure that once made you captivating. Mystery isn't manufactured, it's the natural result of focusing on your growth rather than chasing validation. So take a deep breath, walk away from the places that tether you to her, and invest your energy into becoming the best version of yourself. That's how you reset the narrative. It's essential to spark her curiosity about your life. If she becomes aware that you're still struggling with the aftermath of the breakup, it may come across as a sign of weakness. While it's completely normal to feel this way, displaying such vulnerability can be unappealing. The longer she perceives you as being in distress, the more likely she is to maintain her distance. Therefore, if you find yourself seeking support from friends and family, ensure that you confide in those who won't relay your struggles to her. If that's not feasible, it might be best to distance yourself from those individuals altogether. I understand this may sound harsh, but it's crucial for your healing process. This leads us to the next point, embracing a fulfilling life. Now, let's talk about self-improvement. This step involves adopting the mindset that you may not reunite with her in the future. Instead, consider the possibility of meeting someone new who will appreciate your strength rather than be deterred by any perceived weaknesses or clinginess. To facilitate this growth, focus on enhancing yourself. A great starting point is to get back into a gym routine. If you haven't been to a gym before, now is the perfect time to begin. You might also explore activities like martial arts or any other form of exercise that promotes your physical well-being. Engaging in physical fitness not only boosts your health but also releases endorphins, which can help fill the emotional void left by the breakup. Additionally, as you improve your physical appearance and overall health, you'll likely gain more confidence, which can positively impact your interactions with other women. Beyond physical fitness, take a moment to reflect on other aspects of your life where you may have lost momentum or failed to progress during your relationship. This is an opportunity to reassess and make meaningful changes that will benefit you in the long run. Let's take a moment to consider where things stand with your personal and professional life. How has your career trajectory or overall level of effort been impacted? Is it possible you've eased up on your ambitions or daily grind because you've been dedicating a significant amount of time and energy to this relationship? Now, let's talk about your financial situation. Have you found yourself accumulating debt, perhaps due to excessive spending on dates, gifts, or experiences related to the relationship? These specific areas, neglecting your professional drive and demonstrating financial irresponsibility, are generally not perceived as attractive qualities in a partner, especially when someone is considering a long-term future. While your partner might have certainly enjoyed the immediate perks or benefits that came from your indulgent behavior or perhaps your reduced focus on other areas, deep down, beneath the surface, she is likely evaluating your suitability as a potential long-term companion. And let's be clear, someone who isn't managing their finances responsibly is typically not seen as a strong candidate for a lasting partnership. Similarly, if you've started to disregard or sideline your other important friendships and social connections solely for her, that's also not a particularly positive characteristic. Furthermore, if you've allowed your physical health or appearance to decline, that can understandably diminish her confidence in your ability to share a long, healthy life together. Even if you haven't had explicit conversations about your entire future together, it's a fundamental part of human psychology that, on a subconscious level, we are constantly assessing the long-term viability of our relationships and partners. Women, in particular, are often thinking ahead, picturing what you will be like as a partner years down the line. So, if you are currently exhibiting traits and behaviors that indicate a downward slide in these crucial areas, your drive, your finances, your social connections, your health, she is naturally going to project that trend onto the future, weighing what that trajectory looks like over the long haul. If that future picture doesn't appear promising, and especially if things aren't looking solid even in the present moment, it's highly likely to cause her to lose interest or feel turned off. Therefore, the most effective path to attracting her back, or indeed attracting any other high-quality individual into your life in the future, involves dedicating effort to improving all those aspects of your life that you might have let slip, or that simply have room for growth, even if they seemed stable when you were together. The goal here is to elevate yourself and become what's often referred to as a higher-value individual. There are numerous facets of your life you can focus on for this improvement. I've explored many of these topics in other content I've created, and I delve into them extensively within my Wake Up to Love course, for which you'll find a link provided below if you're interested in learning more. Alright, moving on, that brings us to point number 8 on our list, which concerns your activity on social media platforms. Regarding social media, the guidance is straightforward: you should refrain entirely from posting anything online unless and until you are doing so very infrequently and deliberately. Always aim to leave a sense of curiosity in others. It's important to maintain an air of mystery about yourself. When sharing updates, focus solely on the positive aspects of your life, much like someone who is dedicated to martial arts training. The intention behind your posts should not be to show off or seek validation, rather, it should be a subtle demonstration of your personal growth and progress. This approach will naturally attract the attention of women who might think, wow, that guy seems impressive and intriguing. Perhaps I should get to know him better. This is the impression you want to create. To achieve this, consider reducing the frequency of your posts to about half of what you typically share, or even less. This guideline serves as a helpful rule of thumb. Ensure that the content you do share is uplifting and reflects your journey of self-improvement, showcasing that you are moving forward in life independently. It's crucial to understand that women prefer to feel wanted rather than needed. When you come across as someone who needs them, it can create a perception of dependency, akin to that of a child. Women are not looking for a dependent, they seek a partner who is confident and self-sufficient. Imagine stepping back into the best version of yourself, whether it's for her or for someone new, especially if she's not the right match for you. This mindset shift is crucial because it's all about rediscovering your confidence and self-worth. Now, let's move on to the big question, the one you've probably been eager to explore. We're at point number 9, yes, number 9. What should you do if she suddenly reaches out to you? How exciting, right? But hold on, before you jump to reply, let's think this through carefully. The first thing to consider is how fast you should respond. The answer isn't set in stone, it actually depends on the timing of her message and the context of your past communication. For example, let's say you used to text each other every single day, but then she went silent for a whole week. In that case, it's perfectly fine to take a day before replying. Now, imagine a different scenario: you were texting daily, but she hasn't reached out in an entire month. Here, it's okay to stretch your response time a bit further, maybe wait 2 or even 3 days. Why? Because she's the one who left you hanging for so long, and it's important to show that you're not just sitting around waiting for her. This delay isn't about playing games, it's about demonstrating that you have a full, busy life. You're not the same person who might have come across as overly eager or dependent in the past. Instead, you're someone who values their time and has grown into a stronger, more independent version of themselves. Think of it this way: you're not the person she decided to walk away from. You've evolved, and your response time is a subtle way to reflect that transformation. By taking your time, you're signaling confidence, not neediness, and that's a powerful message to send. It's important to keep in mind that this principle should guide your actions in life. You are now a new individual who is not dependent on her. When you do choose to respond, and you will, the crucial point is to avoid bitterness. Refrain from sulking or being resentful. Instead, aim to be light-hearted, playful, charming, and succinct in your communication. Even if she has treated you poorly or ended the relationship in a particularly hurtful manner, responding with anger or criticism will not serve you well. By chastising her, you risk two significant outcomes. First, you won't encourage her to return, as your negative response will only make her feel worse. She will likely associate those unpleasant feelings with you, which is not conducive to rekindling the relationship. This approach is distinct from being assertive. It's about making her feel guilty, which is counterproductive. Avoid guilt-tripping her at all costs. Secondly, your communication should be crafted in a way that makes her interested in coming back to you. Remember, you will have the opportunity to discuss how her actions affected you at a later time. Here's the thing, if you confront her immediately about taking accountability for her actions, she'll likely distance herself again. This doesn't mean avoiding the conversation altogether, it's about timing. For instance, if she reconnects and you're still open to exploring things, because perspectives can shift over time, trust me, this happens more often than people admit, patience matters. When emotions are raw, as they are now, clarity is hard. Many realize later, after the intensity fades, that they'd idealized their partner. Ever heard the saying, place someone on a pedestal, and they'll have no choice but to look down on you? It's a powerful reminder that over-idealizing someone creates imbalance. Imagine building someone up as flawless, suddenly, your own worth seems smaller in comparison. If you want her to return organically, especially after reflecting and thinking, wow, my past self was seeing this through rose-colored glasses, kindness is key. Here's why: when she initiates contact, displaying frustration or hurt, even subtly, signals lingering attachment. Neutral, composed responses, on the other hand, project confidence and self-assurance, qualities that foster healthier reconnection. It appears that the current situation may not be advantageous for you, as she holds all the cards. Therefore, it's essential to maintain a neutral stance. Think of her as a new acquaintance, someone you've recently met with no past experiences, no lingering feelings of anger, bitterness, or resentment. These emotions are unnecessary because you don't require her validation. Keep this perspective in mind. If she reaches out to you and you're considering reconciliation or simply seeking closure, engage in a concise conversation. Remember, texting should be used for practical information exchange such as scheduling meetings, confirming times, or notifying delays, not for deep discussions better suited for a face-to-face setting. Should it seem that she's open to moving forward, she may be gauging your reaction. Suggest meeting up for a casual catch-up over coffee. Avoid making it seem like a date. Clearly state in your text, message, or call that this is merely a get-together. Once you meet, observe her demeanor and decide if you wish to discuss what led to your separation. At this juncture, you can also address any irresponsible, immature, and emotionally unstable behavior she exhibited during the breakup, should that be necessary. If she suddenly stopped communicating with you without any explanation, essentially just ghosted you, you might feel tempted to say something like, "Wow, that was a pretty harsh thing to do. Who treats another person that way?" If you're thinking that, it's understandable, but before you react, reflect on what you're really bringing to the table. You might start to wonder if you're as impressive or desirable as you thought. However, it's important not to ask her, "What did I do wrong?" because that can make you come across as insecure or needy. Instead, a more constructive approach would be to ask, "Is there something that could have happened differently? Was there something you were hoping for that maybe you didn't express?" Chances are, she won't have a concrete answer for you, as people often struggle to articulate these feelings. More often than not, it's possible that during your time together, you may have lost your sense of individuality by focusing too much on her, a common pitfall in relationships. She might not be able to put that into words, but subconsciously, that's what she's feeling. Now, rather than relying on promises or declarations, you'll need to demonstrate your growth through your actions, as actions always speak louder than words. The way you conduct yourself moving forward will likely be visible to her, especially thanks to social media, where people often share updates about their lives. Alternatively, you can mention what you've been working on recently, but not in a way that sounds like you're boasting. Women are often very perceptive and can pick up on your real intentions, so if you're genuinely sharing your personal progress, she'll see that. The key is to remain relaxed and genuine, no need to force anything or try too hard to impress. This leads us to the next important point, steering clear of negativity, which we'll discuss in the following section. Maintain a cool demeanor, embody positivity, embrace playfulness, exude charisma, and strive to be a genuinely happy individual. It's important to present yourself as someone who has thrived independently, achieving more on your own than she has without you. This approach can rekindle her interest in you. Remember, you have made significant strides in your life, and your happiness surpasses hers. You don't need to adopt an exaggerated persona, like a flamboyant character, but it's crucial to avoid dwelling on negative feelings. Exhibiting negativity can signal an inability to cope with life's challenges, a trait that many women consider undesirable in a long-term partner. Happiness is infectious, people are naturally drawn to it. They seek out that uplifting energy. If you are the one who radiates joy and has a fulfilling life, that will be far more appealing than appearing lost or incomplete without her. Seriously, believing that being lost without her is attractive is a misconception. It's not appealing at all. You must take ownership of your feelings and circumstances. That responsibility lies with you. Alright, let's move on to point number 11. When you're engaging in conversation with her, it's natural to feel a sense of curiosity. However, it's important to remember that you should never resort to begging or trying to use logic in your discussions. Women often approach relationship decisions based on their emotions rather than logical reasoning. This is simply part of how many women operate. Therefore, if you attempt to justify your actions or explain why she should reconsider her feelings towards you, it may only push her further away. Instead of trying to rationalize your situation, focus on discussing aspects of your life that present you in a positive light. This isn't about boasting, rather, it's about casually sharing your achievements or new pursuits. For instance, you might mention that you've taken up martial arts, are contemplating returning to school, have finally asked for that promotion you've been delaying, or have started an exciting new venture in the tech world. These are the kinds of topics that can genuinely impress her. However, be cautious not to dwell excessively on these subjects, as it can come off as obvious and may be perceived as bragging. This could inadvertently signal insecurity, making it seem like you're trying too hard to win her approval. The key here is to adopt a mindset where you are thriving and improving, even more so than when you were together. This is why it's crucial to engage in a period of self-reflection and personal growth. You need to invest time in these endeavors so that they feel genuinely authentic to you, rather than just following advice from someone like Anna, your wingman, to distract yourself from constantly thinking about her or overanalyzing every interaction. I understand that this is a common tendency, and it's perfectly normal. But remember, it's all part of the process. To help you move on from thoughts of her for a while, it's essential to engage in other activities that can occupy your mind. Over time, these new experiences can genuinely transform your self-perception, leading you to realize, wow, I really am a great person. It's important to acknowledge that you are indeed a great catch. Don't forget to check out that other video I mentioned, I'll include a link to it below. Your mindset plays a crucial role in this process. Now, let's discuss the 12th piece of advice for rekindling your relationship with your ex. When you find yourself in her company, take the opportunity to reminisce about the enjoyable moments you shared together. Instead of expressing sadness over what you no longer have, bring up those happy memories in a light-hearted way during your conversations. For instance, you might say, "Do you remember that time we did that?" and share a laugh about it. Laughter is a powerful tool, it releases endorphins and can create a positive atmosphere between you two. The key takeaway here is that logic often takes a backseat in relationships. What truly matters is the emotional connection she feels when she is with you. If you can make her laugh and spark her curiosity about the new version of yourself or the exciting life you are leading, she may become more inclined to consider the possibility of rekindling your relationship. If you reach that stage, it's important to approach it with a fresh perspective. Take things slow and avoid rushing into anything. You might even find it beneficial to date other people while you are exploring this renewed connection with her. But that's a topic for another video. If you're interested in that particular topic, just let me know. I can definitely add it to my list of upcoming videos to create. Now, as a bonus piece of advice, if you find yourself really struggling, especially if you're caught in a tug-of-war within yourself about what steps to take in a tricky situation, it might be helpful to consider working with a coach. There are many experienced coaches out there who specialize in helping people through relationship breakups and similar challenges. This support can be especially valuable because timing often matters a lot. For instance, you might receive a message from your ex and feel completely unsure about how to respond. Should you reply right away? What should you say? Making the right decision in those crucial moments can make all the difference. Investing in a coach, even for a short period, could be worthwhile if this relationship truly matters to you and you want to avoid making things worse. Remember, the goal is to handle things thoughtfully so you don't deepen the distance between you. It's important to understand that if she was attracted to you once before, only to lose interest later, the issue isn't necessarily about your looks. More often, it's something emotional that has shifted over time. This also means you have the opportunity to reconnect in a new and healthier way, potentially opening the door to getting back together. Of course, there are cases where someone simply won't ever be attracted to you, but in your situation, you already know there was mutual chemistry at one point, you just need to avoid repeating past mistakes. If you're unsure about how to move forward or respond when the moment arises, having a coach's guidance can really help you navigate that uncertainty and avoid impulsive actions that could backfire. Above all, take care of yourself and don't resort to drastic measures. You matter, and you're capable of handling this. In my experience working with men who successfully rekindled things with their exes, even if only temporarily, it's common that the relationship ended because they were the ones who were dumped, not the other way around. So hang in there, stay calm, and remember, you're not alone in this journey. Imagine this scenario: someone might have given a relationship a shot, only to have it end abruptly. Take, for instance, a guy who was deeply hurt when his relationship crumbled within just 3 weeks. Yet, as fate would have it, he met someone new who turned out to be an even better match. By the time his ex tried to rekindle their connection, he was already invested in his new relationship. This underscores an important truth: there isn't just one perfect person out there for you. If your current relationship feels like a constant struggle, it might not be the right fit. Even if the issues stem from your actions and you manage to correct them, there's no guarantee she'll come back. That's the reality. But here's the silver lining: you'll grow from the experience and become a better person for your next relationship. You'll attract someone even more suited to you. Remember, you're going to get through this. It might feel tough now, but you'll come out stronger on the other side.